June 13th, 1944, 9:02 in the morning. Just outside Villers-Bocage, France. The fog hasn't lifted yet. It sits low over the fields, soft and gray, draped across the hedgerows like a curtain. The Norman countryside is quiet, birds somewhere in the distance, the faint smell of damp earth and hay. And underneath it all, barely audible, the low rumble of an engine. Inside a concealed tiger, one tank, 5 men sit in the dark. The air is thick, hot metal, sweat, oil, the kind of heat that soaks into your uniform and doesn't leave. Commander Michael Wittmann presses binoculars to his eyes and watches the road below. He's 29 years old, already one of the most decorated tank commanders in the German military. 22 enemy vehicles destroyed in a single day on the Eastern Front. He knows what he's doing. His crew knows what they're doing. They've been through North Africa, the frozen steppes of Russia, battles most men wouldn't survive once. And right now, they are very, very still, because something is coming down the road. First one shape emerges from the mist, then another, then a whole column, tanks, half-tracks, trucks, infantry riding on vehicles like they're on a Sunday drive. British soldiers from the 7th Armored Division. No scouts ahead, no flanking units. Moving in single file down a narrow road with no idea, not even a whisper, that a tiger is watching from 20 meters away. Wittmann lowers the binoculars slowly. He knows these tanks, the rounded turret, the wide tracks, the tall boxy hull, the M4 Sherman, and among German panzer crews, the Sherman has a reputation, but not a frightening one. They call it the Tommy Cooker because it burns. One round from an 88mm gun, and a Sherman doesn't just stop. It ignites. The ammunition catches. The fuel catches. The crew has seconds, if they're lucky. German tankers joke about it openly. A tin can. A coffin on tracks. Wittmann turns to his gunner, already on the first target. Ready! Fire! The cannon cracks like thunder. The first Sherman erupts. Black smoke pours into the morning air. For 1 second, the column freezes. Then everything breaks. Turrets spinning, men leaping, engines roaring in panic on a road too narrow to turn. Wittmann's Tiger rolls forward out of the hedgerow, directly onto the road. He doesn't hide. He drives straight into them. The second Sherman dies before its turret finds the Tiger. The third catches a round through the side. The fourth slams into the hedgerow wall, trying to reverse. Wittmann moves through them like a wolf through a flock. In 11 minutes, his single Tiger destroys over a dozen armored vehicles. The road is blocked by burning wrecks. The British column is shattered. Inside the Tiger, the crew exhales, grins, exactly as expected. Easy. But 150 miles away, the ships are still unloading, and they are full of Shermans. Here is what Michael Wittmann could not see from that road. He could not see the factories. In Detroit, the Chrysler tank arsenal ran 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. Workers on the assembly line welding, bolting, riveting. One Sherman every few hours. Day after day, month after month. Across Michigan, Ohio, California, Pennsylvania, factories had been retooled for one thing: volume. By June 1944, the United States had produced over 30,000 M4 Shermans. The Germans produced fewer than 1,400 Tigers across the entire war. Every Tiger that burned in Normandy was irreplaceable. every Sherman was replaced before the week was out. This was what German commanders never fully processed. In their mental model, the best tank wins. And in that model, they were right. Tiger against Sherman, one-on-one, the Tiger wins almost every time. Thicker armor, bigger gun, better optics. A skilled crew could engage a Sherman at ranges where the Sherman couldn't shoot back. But Wittmann's model had a flaw. It assumed the war was a duel. It wasn't. The Americans had decided to fight a flood. The Sherman wasn't designed to beat a Tiger. It was designed to be everywhere. To cross rivers on bridges engineers threw up overnight. To be repaired by mobile units following the columns. To be crewed by men trained fast and replaced fast. A Tiger needed rare parts, specialized mechanics, careful handling. Move one more than 100 miles and the tracks might fail, the engine overheat. German logistics in Normandy were already strangled by Allied bombing. Fuel was rationed. Parts took weeks. When a Tiger was destroyed, it was gone. The crew might wait weeks for a replacement. When a Sherman was destroyed, another rolled forward from a depot a few miles back. Wittmann couldn't see any of that on June 13th. He saw a destroyed column and felt the satisfaction of a professional doing his job. What he didn't feel, not yet, was the weight of what was coming. By mid-July 1944, something had changed. You could feel it before you could explain it. German crews who'd fought with confidence in June were quieter. The Tommy Cooker jokes had stopped. After-action reports described ambushes that worked perfectly, 5, 6 Shermans destroyed, only for the advance to continue an hour later, as if nothing had happened. Wittmann is still fighting, still dangerous, still adding kills. But even he can feel it. The math is changing. A Panther destroys 4 Shermans from a ridge. The 5th calls in artillery. The Panther takes a hit, breaks a tread, gets abandoned. The crew survives, but the tank is gone. Nothing to replace it. Next morning, 10 Shermans roll past where it stood. Every day, the German armored force was smaller, less supplied, more tired. Every day, the Allied force was larger. Then on July the 25th, Operation Cobra began. 2,000 Allied aircraft dropped bombs on a narrow strip of German line west of St. Lo. The ground shook for miles. German units weren't defeated. They were obliterated. And through the gap, the armor poured. Now the Shermans were in open country. Columns moved 30, 40, 50 miles a day. Patton's Third Army swept around the German flank. Fighter bombers hunted anything on a road with German markings. The flood that had been bottled in the hedgerows for weeks was loose, and it could not be stopped. Almost. August 8th, 1944. Morning, near Saint-Thot, Normandy. Operation Totalize. Canadian and Polish armor pushing south to close the Falaise Gap, one of the largest armored operations of the campaign. Wittmann gets the order to counterattack. He has a handful of Tigers. The Allied column has Shermans and Fireflies. The Sherman Firefly, an M4 hull fitted with a 17-pounder gun that can punch through Tiger armor at combat range. Nobody in the German High Command had fully accounted for it. Wittmann doesn't know how many Fireflies are ahead. Intelligence is poor, communication fragmented. He has a few tanks, a narrow window, and orders. He moves. The Tiger rolls into the open. For a moment, it is exactly what it has always been. A predator, powerful, purposeful. Then it stops. A round strikes the hull, then another. What happens next has been debated by historians for decades. What is certain, Michael Wittmann's Tiger is hit, and it does not move again. He is 29 years old. His body will not be found and formally identified until 1983, when construction workers in Normandy uncover a small unmarked grave. The most successful tank commander in history, the man who laughed at Shermans, dies inside a burning tank, killed, in all probability, by a Sherman with a bigger gun. The column he tried to stop continues south. Section 5. The Laugh That Died. There is something worth sitting with at the end of this. Wittmann was a soldier doing what he was trained to do, effective, precise, decorated by a regime that was tearing the world apart. And he lost, not because he was outfought, not because some Allied commander outmaneuvered him. He lost because the war had become a different kind of war than the one he was trained for. He was fighting a duel. The Americans were fighting a flood. The Sherman was not the best tank of World War II, not even close. It burned too easily. It lost one-on-one almost every time. Thousands of Allied tankers died inside them. The nickname Ronson, the lighter that lights every time, was earned in blood. But the Sherman was the right tank for the war America chose to fight. Built in numbers no enemy could match. Shipped across an ocean no enemy could stop. Replaced faster than it could be destroyed. Germany had brilliant engineers, extraordinary machines. But machines that needed resources Germany didn't have, fuel that Allied bombers were destroying, and mechanics that took years to train. The Americans made a different bet. Build something good enough. Make it everywhere. Keep it moving. That bet won the war. The right tank beat the best tank. Every time.